What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are here. What's up, Instagram? What's up, Facebook? What is up, YouTube? What's up? What's up? People are joining on. Who we got? Colton. What's up? Alex, my dude from Seattle. What's up, man? Livia, what's up? Ashley, what's up? Ooh. Grace, what's up? Hannah, what's up? Bum, bum. It's good to see y'all joining on. Come on. Landon, bro. Love you, man. Crushing it up in Loveland, dude. Let's hang out. Come to Castle Rock. We'll go to restaurants. We'll hang out. Show you around. Ryan, what's up? Tyler, what's up? Taylor, what's up? Coming on. Sorry, we are a little bit late jumping on. YouTube was having some fits for me getting live, but we'll make it work. Ash, what's up? Hey, those of you on YouTube watching, I see you. Jump in the chat. Say what's up. Those of you on Facebook, jump in the chat. Say what's up. Love you too, man. Ooh. I don't even know who that is. Who jumped on? I can't see. So we shifted up our setup just a little bit, trying to figure out what works best for this 3-platform thing. So it's working for now, but is this on custom too? Am I live on my own stream? I thought I was going live from custom. Someone tell me, is that live from Brandon Yates?
It's live. Yeah, it's not on custom.
Boo! All right, bye Instagram.
Oh, are you live on Facebook?
No, on. Stop. Go. Wait. Delete.
Live on Facebook.
I am live on Facebook.
It's not pulling it up. There it is now.
All right. Jade, what's up? Hey. Instagram. There we go. Now we've got people joining in on the right thing. So apparently I went live from my own personal page. My bad. Oops. All y'all joining on. Sorry, I was live on my own page. Didn't mean to do that. There we are. Yep. Now we're going to get people joining. There we go. Thank you, Ryan. I would have never known that. Thanks for pointing it out, dude. What's up, everybody? What's up? Y'all joining on. Hey, YouTubers. Go in that chat. Say what's up. Say hey. There we go. All right. James, how that? What's up? Grace, I did. We did it. We are now live from the right thing. Jacqueline, my wife, is on Facebook, even though she's sitting over there. But I like it. So, Tyler, there we go. Heyo. Man, sometimes technology is not my friend. Sometimes it's a little bit hard. But, hey, today's live stream of Custom is brought to you by Bang Energy Drinks. I put it in the can, or pour the can in this cup so I can have ice with it. It's not actually brought to you by Bang today. I'm just drinking it because I need to. I had coffee today, so it's not a bad thing. So, Ashley, you made your way over here. Good. Jim Dangle, what's up, my dude? Also, I just found out who you really are. Literally didn't know this whole time, but now I do. So, what's up, everybody? Hey, today is a good day. I know a lot of you guys have heard different things kind of going around. Churches can start meeting and stuff like that. We're trying to figure out what that means for Custom, how we're going to be able to do it, if we're going to be able to do it, and what that might look like. So keep an ear out. For the time being, though, we are going to continue with this Custom Tuesday live deal, and I'm excited just to see what God's going to continue to do this summer. We've got different things going on, summer camps going on. We've got 6th or 5th graders who are going into 6th graders coming up with us next week. And so I'm super pumped about that, meeting some of them, bringing them on. If you are a senior watching, man, we celebrate you. But we've got something cool coming for you this week. And I'm excited for it. I think you guys are going to love it. So it'll be a surprise. You'll see it when it happens. Until then, you won't know. But you will know once you find out. So we got some cool stuff planned. I'm excited for it. Pastor Ernest, what's up? He just joined on Instagram. How's it going, my dude? Glad you're here. Yeah. We love the seniors. Now they're freshmen again in college, if they choose to go to college. So is Custom going to continue during the summer? Yeah, absolutely. Custom is going to continue during the summer. We never take weeks off. We never take the summer off. So yeah, we're going to continue to do stuff every week. And we're going to start doing some pretty cool, fun, creative things to engage and to have fun and to party. So keep an eye out. Follow us on social media. Sign up for Remind. All of that kind of stuff. Make sure you get all of those things. Why aren't I wearing my Goodbye Brothers gear? So I wore that last week. I think I wore my Goodbye Brothers hoodie, or 2 weeks ago. I ordered the new gear that Angel dropped, but he's back ordered, so I don't have it yet, which isn't like that's good for him. He's still out trying to get stuff. So go support Angel, goodbyebrothers.com. He's got some sweet gear. Ernest, the question is, why aren't you wearing yours? He wasn't wearing his in his live, was he? No, you were just live, and you're not wearing yours. Sydney, what's up? Graham, what's up, dude? Anyone else seeing Brandon is? You're watching me in slow-mo? I'm sorry. I don't know what that's about. Somebody's saying slow-mo. Yeah.
Crap on our feed.
He did say crap on our feed. That's okay. Hi, Daydreaming Aloud. Good to see you on here.
Is that who joined? Hold on.
That's my wife's ministry page. Go follow her. She puts out great stuff for ladies. It's awesome. Right on, guys. Hey, today we're going to kind of continue our series that we have been in called What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And we're talking about the life of Joseph and just kind of some of those things that we can pull into our lives right now. I mean, this season that we've been in, it's been crazy. And if we're honest, a lot of us have no idea what to do. We've got plans for college. We've got plans for summer. We plan on going to summer camp, plan on going on mission trips, all these things. And if we're honest, we don't know what to do a lot of times. And even beyond this, we always find ourselves in situations where we don't know what to do. And it's okay. We don't have to always have the right answers. We don't always have to know exactly what to do because, frankly, we're not always going to know what to do. But we don't want to stay in that place where we don't make a decision because we're too fearful of what could happen. And we've got to be willing to step into those situations. We got to be willing to step into the places where I don't know what's going to happen, but I would rather move than stay stagnant. I'd rather move than stay still. I'd rather move away from this situation than allow it to impact me in a negative way. And we might make a decision, or we might make a step that, you know, hey, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but at least we took a step in the right direction. And so as we talk about this idea of what to do when we don't know what to do, it can apply in every single area of our lives. I remember it was probably about 4 years ago. It was 4th of July. We had our kids with us. We were with my family. We were at this park on Bellevue, and I think it's called Bellevue Park, but we call it Airplane Park. Growing up, we used to go there all the time. It had this airplane there that you could climb in and go on. It's got this little creek that ran down the middle that's super dirty and unsanitary, but you play in it, and it's super fun. I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments. Pastor Ernest just said, never change in the dark what God told you in the light. I love that. Such good truth. But we were at this park, 4th of July. I mean, tons of people. This place was packed with kids. People were hanging out. People were grilling. Super, super packed. And we're hanging out and we're eating. And on the blanket up behind us was this family. And they had 2 older sons. And at the time, they were probably in their mid-20s. I'd say, and I start to hear them arguing behind me, and there's kids everywhere, and they're cursing and they're yelling at each other, and I'm kind of like, yeah, like it happens, and then it just started to escalate, and it got louder, and it got more aggressive, and more cursing, and more and it became it became very hostile, and I started kind of worrying for my kids and the other kids around me on what's going to happen, and I sat there, and I got a little bit nervous because I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew that I was supposed to step in, but I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea if I step in, what could happen to me. If I stepped in and engaged, what would happen to them? What would happen to my family? Or if I didn't engage, if I didn't step in, what could happen? How could this escalate? And it got pretty aggressive. And finally, even though I didn't want to, I knew what I was supposed to do. And I knew I was supposed to step in. So I stood up and I went up to them. I said, hey guys, y'all need to calm down. And so we started having this conversation, and they started cussing at me. And finally I was able to de-escalate the situation. One of the brothers walked away, and the older brother was there. And he was obviously very agitated. And I actually got to share the love of Jesus with him, and how he needs to be a leader for his mom. And he started telling me this story, and I got to hear his story. I didn't know if that was the right thing to do in the moment, though. I didn't know if I should step in, if I should engage, but I chose to actually do it. And out of it came this awesome opportunity to meet somebody in the midst of brokenness. I had no idea what the results were going to be. I didn't know. And afterwards I came and I sat down, and I was kind of shaking because my adrenaline was pumped up. I didn't know if I was going to have to defend myself. And it wouldn't have been defending myself because I would have just got beat up. Let's be honest. But I didn't know what to do, but I decided to do something in the direction towards the heart of God where I need to do something to protect the people around me. I need to do something to protect this family. And so I chose to actually engage with it. And sometimes knowing the right thing to do isn't simple in the moment. Right? When you're invited to a party, you find yourself at somebody's house, you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I know I need to do something, and I think I know what to do, but in the middle of that situation, in the middle of that moment, it can be very hard to know what to do. And so we're going to talk about that same idea when we're going to look at the dilemma of what to do when we don't know what is right or what is wrong. And some of us find ourselves in that situation every single day. Some of us find ourselves in that situation every week, or at work, or at home, or with our friends, or at school. All these different areas, we find ourselves not knowing what to do in these situations. And sometimes the right thing to do isn't obvious. It's not easy. It doesn't stare us in the face. Sometimes we have to sit and we have to ponder. We have to think. And other times we know right away what we're supposed to do. But just because we know what we're supposed to do doesn't mean it's the easiest thing to do. It doesn't mean it's the bravest thing to do. It doesn't mean that it's the most popular thing to do. Doing the right thing can be difficult because sometimes the right thing can actually cost us something. Sometimes doing the right thing can be difficult because we know that doing the right thing can actually cost us something. Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's popularity. Maybe doing the right thing can actually cost us a job, or it can actually cost us, a scholarship or something like that. But doing the right thing can actually cost us something. And we've all been in situations like that, where we've actually stood up and we've done it. Maybe you've done something wrong and you've actually acknowledged it, and you've gone to make it right with your parents, and maybe it cost you your freedom a little bit. Maybe you got grounded. Maybe you lost your phone. Maybe people stopped trusting you. Maybe you lost your trust. But doing the right thing can cost you something. And sometimes we're afraid of that because we don't actually know what it's going to cost us. Right? If we were able to weigh the options, it might be a little bit easier for us to say, I'm going to do the right thing. Or maybe we'd say, yo, that's going to cost me too much. I'm not willing to do it, but it's going to cost us something. Sometimes what feels right is complicated. Doing the right thing can be complicated. Even when we know what's right, sometimes it's difficult to actually act on that. So with that in mind, we're going to pick back up in Joseph's story, and we're going to talk a little bit kind of about the situation that he finds himself in, where he has this dilemma: to do the right thing or to do the thing he knows what's wrong, to do the thing that he knows what's gonna protect him, or the thing that's actually gonna hurt him a little bit. And so we're gonna pick up where we left off. Joseph was sold into slavery, and he had been sold off, and all this crazy stuff happens. He finds himself working in Pharaoh's house, or for one of his officials. Pharaoh's like the king of the day, and he finds himself working for a guy named Potiphar. And he finds favor with Potiphar. His life, even though he's a slave, it's actually pretty good. He gains trust with Potiphar because of his integrity, and he gains power in all of this stuff. And so if you have your Bibles, if you have your notepads, take them out. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 39 today. And we're picking up we've kind of followed this story from where his brothers threw him in the cistern, sold him off, told his dad he was dead. Then last week we actually talked about how he was actually sold off into slavery. Today we're continuing this story. And in my Bible, this section of scripture is titled Joseph and Potiphar's Wife. All right, let's dive in. Starting in chapter 39, verse 2 through 6, it says, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered, and he lived in the house of the Egyptian master." Like that first thing, the Lord was with Joseph. We talked about this last week. We hit on it last week, that even in the midst of your circumstances, when they still might be terrible, when they still might not be what you thought they would, God is with you. He's with you. And when his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and he became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household and he entrusted to the care of everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his house and of all the things that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. This blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in his house and in his field. See, Potiphar was a very wealthy guy. He was very high in Egypt, and he ran a lot of stuff. He had a bunch of stuff, and Potiphar put Joseph in charge of all of it. And because of Joseph's character, because of his favor with God, everything prospered. And he found favor, and he began to be blessed, and Potiphar's house was blessed, and all of these things. And it's amazing to see, like, man, his house or Joseph's life wasn't all that bad. Is it what he wanted it to be? Probably not. He probably wanted to be back with his family, but he was taken care of. He had the house over his head. He had all the nicest things. He had food. Like, he had all of these great things. It wasn't that bad. Potiphar trusted him. They're not going too bad for him. But then things kind of take a weird turn. Things kind of shift a little bit in verse 6. And this is what it says. It says, so he left in Joseph's care everything he had. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food that he ate. So Potiphar gives everything to Joseph. He kind of kicks back, relaxes. He trusts him. He knows nothing is going to go wrong in his hands. Nothing is going to happen. He didn't concern himself with anything except the food that he ate. Now, Joseph was well-built and handsome, kind of like me. I'm surprised I didn't get an audible laugh over there. The Bible says, like, he's a good-looking dude. He's buff, he's strong, he's good-looking. And this is what it said in verse 7. And after a while, his master's wife took notice of him and said, "Come to bed with me." Now, here's what's crazy about this situation. Here's what's complicated about this. Because Joseph was a slave, he was obligated to not only obey Potiphar, but he was also obligated to obey Potiphar's wife, his master's wife. And to the point where if he disobeyed Potiphar or Potiphar's wife, he could be punished very severely, even have his life taken from him. And so Joseph obeyed everything Potiphar told him to do. But in this instance, Potiphar's wife came to him and said, "Hey, come on, let's Let's go have some fun. Like it's going to be okay. Nobody's going to notice. No one's going to notice a thing. And if he refused her command, then she could hold him back. She could punish him. She could do something. Like she had the authority to cast him out. But if he did what she asked, this would create a whole nother set of problems. And so basically, out of respect for Potiphar, out of respect for God, Joseph just did the next right thing. He didn't maybe know exactly what he needed to do, but he made a choice in that moment. In verses 8 through 10, it says, but he refused. With me in charge, he told her, my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns, he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in the house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. Continuing on in verse 11, it says, one day he went into the house to attend to some duties, and none of the household servants were inside, which was odd. He knew. That's why it's stated. We can read into it. Hey, things aren't how they're supposed to do. There's a weird situation. Maybe I shouldn't be here. In verse 12, it says she caught him by the cloak and said, come to bed with me. But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. He ran away from her. In this moment, Joseph had a choice to make. What do I do when I don't know what to do? I want to honor God. I want to honor my boss, but I don't want to lose everything. He knew that if he stood up for what he believed, it was going to cost him something. It was going to cost him, if not his freedom or his authority in this house, his favor in this house, it could cost him his life. It wasn't like everything was perfect. Like Joseph's circumstances were still hard. They still weren't great. They were still a little bit rough. Then things got even worse after this. Because after Joseph ran out of the house, Potiphar's wife actually went to her husband and said, hey, he forced himself on me. And Potiphar believed his wife. And Potiphar actually took Joseph and threw him in jail. He lost all of his freedom. He lost all of his favor because Joseph actually chose to do what was right. And so many of us, we don't know what to do in a situation because we're afraid of what it's going to cost us. But Joseph's integrity pushed him to the place of willing to lose everything out of respect for God, out of honor for God, out of honor for himself. Joseph made the decision not based on what was good for him. He did it out of what was right, regardless of the outcome. And some of us need to start looking at the decisions we make and the way we live our lives, not based off of how this is going to affect me, but based on, does this honor God? Is this right in his eyes? Does this glorify him? Does this obey my parents? Does this come into alignment with what my parents have asked of me? Integrity means doing what's right regardless of the outcome. And are we living in integrity? Are we walking every single day with integrity? Are we who we say we are when nobody is around? Does that align with who we proclaim ourselves to be? It's choosing what's right no matter what. And some of us, we know exactly the decision. Some of us have an instance in our head right now where we say, hey, I've been doing what's wrong, even though I know what is right and what's expected. And some of us need to make a change right now towards the light, towards what's right. Just like what Pastor Ernest put in the comments. Don't change in the dark what God told you in the light. Because your circumstances may be dark doesn't mean that your decisions start to align with the dark. Keep them aligned with the light. Keep them aligned with what's right, with who God's called you to be, with the steps that he's called you to take. We don't always know what it's going to do or how it's going to play out. But having integrity on our decision-making leaves room for fewer regrets. When we make decisions based on our integrity and what we know is right and what we know is wrong and how it will align with the heart of God, that leaves room for less time or less space for regrets in our lives. And I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of my life living with regret. I've done a lot of things that I have regretted. Now, over time, after fixing them, God has turned them and shifted them and is now able to use them. But I wish I just lived with integrity when I was younger. I wish I did what was right when I knew it was going to align with the heart of God and who he called me to be and what he called me to do. When we don't know what to do, simply do the next right thing. I know that sounds like Frozen 2, but it's true. When you don't know what to do, figure out what the heart of God is for that situation and start to do that next right thing. Start to do that thing that pulls your heart towards God's heart. It isn't always going to be black and white. It isn't always going to be the easiest decision. It isn't always going to make sense. But when our integrity is key and our heart connecting with the heart of God is the priority of our lives, then doing the next right thing becomes a little bit easier, becomes a little bit more worth it. It still might cost us something, but sometimes we're willing to pay that price because our integrity is more important than our popularity. Our integrity is more important than who likes me, what I get invited to. My honor towards my parents is more important to me, right? So what's more important to us? How do we do this? How do we align ourselves? How do we start making those right choices? Psalms 119:11. I've hidden your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. I've hidden your word in my heart that I might do the next right thing. Joseph, in a moment, chose to flee from sexual temptation, chose to flee and to run away from it. Sometimes we have to stand and fight against temptations, but in this moment, Joseph chose to flee from sexual immorality. And each and every one of us, we're called to flee from sexual immorality. We're called to run from it. And Joseph, in a moment, did what he knew he was supposed to do, even though he knew at some point, this is going to cost me something. This is gonna hurt my future. This is gonna hurt my current circumstances. But are we willing to live in that? Because that's an okay place to be. So here's what I want you to do. Think of a situation right now where you feel stuck or at a crossroads, where you're not sure what the next right thing to do is. Take a second, think about that. Try to identify what is the next right thing I'm supposed to do. What's the next thing I'm supposed to sit in? What's the next step? What's the next direction? And then find somebody to hold you accountable. It's easy for us to come to church to figure out, I know I need to do the right thing, but then without putting on action steps or bringing people into that situation, it becomes way easier to say, I knew I told myself I was going to do that at church, but once I got back to real life, that's a dumb thing. I'm not going to actually do that. What if we actually chose to bring our leaders? That's why we have community groups, to have accountability with one another. That's why in just a couple minutes, we're going to go into those groups where we can actually share, tell somebody what the next right thing we need to do is. Maybe it's break off a relationship. Maybe it's being honest with your parents about what you've been looking at or what you've been doing. Maybe you've been sneaking out and you need to admit it and say, hey, I've been doing these things. Maybe you need to bring your computer, your device to your parents. Maybe you need to own up and talk about your struggles. Like, I know it can be hard. I know it can be scary because you don't know about the consequences. But guys, when we have integrity in our hearts, when we live by what we know God has called us to do, and it opens up space for God to move in our lives. You don't have to do it alone. Doing the next right thing, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it by yourself. It's not just you. You don't have to be afraid to do that. So we're going to pray. We're going to go into community groups. Let's pray. Jesus, we just come before you. And God, I pray as we talk about this idea of doing the next right thing, about our hearts connecting with your heart and figuring out where you want us to be. God, we know that it isn't always clear, that it isn't always easy, that it isn't always the best thing for us, our circumstances, or how we think it should be. But God, I pray that our hearts would be more in tune with yours than ever before. And God, I pray that we would have courage and boldness, Father, to bring our leaders into this, to bring people that we care about into these situations, and to have accountability, and to allow people to direct us and speak into our lives. Jesus, we love you. In your name, amen. Hey, if you want to, we would love to have you guys in our Zoom community groups. Like we did last week, we're going to get in one big group, and then we're going to disperse into middle school and high school groups. So you can find that link at frontrange.info. Go to the Parent Connect tab, scroll all the way to the bottom, or you can go to the link in our Instagram, hit that, or the meeting ID, if you're on here, is 303-521-1286. Just type that into Zoom, 303-521-1286. Hey, I'm going to head over to our Zoom right now. I love you guys. Y'all are amazing. We will talk to you guys in just a moment over on our Zoom group. YouTube, you're the face to go. Face first. You're the first to go, so that I can